Hey guys, welcome to another video, and today I got a ticket. So, a couple months ago, I was driving from an event and I got pulled over because my exhaust was too loud. Now, some of you don't know, there is a California law that the exhaust has to be under 95 decibels. And this particular police officer, when he pulled me over, asked me about my exhaust, but then proceeded to ask me about my motor. So my thinking is that he heard the Pro Charger and then wanted to get me for the Pro Charger. Couldn't get me on it because it is carb legal, so he decided to give me a ticket for the exhaust. So today I'm kind of just going over some testing and a couple things for you guys to understand on how to prevent you from getting pulled over and getting a $400 ticket if you decide to pay it off. So first thing is my exhaust. I do have an NBRP SS 3-inch axle valve. I do have, I'm not sure what the brand of X-Pipe it is, but there's also an X-Pipe on there, as well as the American Racing headers as well. That all was a little too loud, and then that got me pulled over. In California, you cannot have a car that's over 95 decibels, and what's crazy is that there's some cars that come stock that are over 95 decibels. So it's kind of crazy when you really think about it. So what am I doing? What I did is I actually did the closest test I could do to what I could find online on what the state ref does. You have to have your meter at a 45-degree angle, 20 inches from the exhaust, and then they do a reading at idle, then they do 3 readings at 3,700 RPM. It's like 3,750, but just rev it up to 4,000 if you decide to do this. They do that 3 times. They then calculate the average of the 3, and then they determine whether or not you are over that limit. Now, what determines that? I don't know. Do they make you hold it there? Do they make you just go up there and then let go? My assumption is you go up to there, you hold it as best as you can, and then you let off, and then that's where they go get their readings. If you're over that, they won't pass you. They'll have to get it corrected, and then becomes an issue where you can't drive the car on the road. But if it's under, they'll give you a certificate, and then you'll move forward. You can take it to court. They'll then let you know, hey, or you'll let them know, hey, I got this checked. State ref passed it, and then you pay a small fine or something like that. Which is crazy to me because if the car is stock and it's over, you still have to pay a fee. But hey, it's California, right? I've already did that at cold start. I think it did about 113 at cold start. And then I did just 3 revs up to it, and I did about 113 at peak. is definitely way too loud. So what I'll have to do is reduce the total decibel limit down about 25 decibels, which is a lot and not very easy without going completely back to stock. What I had was just dual tip, but I ended up wanting to go to quad tip because I think it looks better. But with that, it does cause more sound to come out, and so that also increases your decibel readings. I also am going from a 2.5 inch to a 3 inch pipe diameter, and so that actually increases the overall volume because the frequencies bounce a little bit more and can amplify and will make it louder. Think of it as a megaphone, and it goes from a smaller pipe to a much bigger one, which helps amplify that sound. I'm not talking about the electrical ones. What do you do? And you kind of find yourself in a bit of a predicament. You could go back to stock, call it a day, you're good there, or you can try and risk it, go with a much more moderate exhaust system, and then hope that'll reduce it. What am I going to do? I'm going to put the primary cats back on, or my stock cats, not primary, stock cats back on. Only the front ones. I still have cats on the front for any officers of the law watching. Get a more resignated X pipe and then go with the Borla S-type exhaust. It's their more moderate one. It's still a little loud, but it's not like their Attack where it's more of a hollowed out muffler. This does have some baffles in it, so that should help overall reduce sound and help bring down those decibel limits. So that's what I plan to do, and that's kind of what's the next step. I'm going to do all those things and then hope that I'm able to reduce the decibels, and I'm going to retry and do the reading. Now, some of you may know what decibels are, some of you may not know. A quick little recap of that. Decibels are a measurement of sound, and depending on certain things, some are very low, some are very loud, and for example, right now, the average is about 57 decibels. There's some traffic behind the camera. Me just talking is about 70, but like a rock concert's about 120. I believe a jet is about 140, but I'll put a little meter so you guys can see, or a little description of what it looks like. But a decibel, but here's the thing, is that decibels also measured at a specific distance. So from me to the camera versus me to a car that is behind the camera, the decibel limit will be completely different. It's all about proximity. So if you do this correctly and you kind of inch it a little bit closer and you account for that, once they do the proper testing of it, it'll be better because you're accounting, because it's closer, it'll be louder when you're closer versus being more further away. You'll think you're within limit, but you're actually not. So that's one thing to understand, and one thing that you definitely need to keep in mind is that proximity does play a big factor on this. That's why I usually start using microphones, because if I was talking to the camera now, I'd have to do a lot of editing on the audio. I went to audio school, so it's something that I know very well. But that's the next step, is to take it to Ed Hansen down in Lemon Grove. And yeah, this is pretty much what this video is about, to see where the car started at. I don't know what the stock sound was, but hopefully the new exhaust will help with that. And yeah, Ed Hansen did this exhaust prior, and I know that we're going to do a great job, during this next one as well. But yeah, something to keep in mind. And yeah, let's just jump to Ed Hansen's.
All right, guys, so I actually fast forwarded a little bit of time here, and it's been about, I want to say about a month since I've installed the exhaust in the car. So I wasn't able to get any footage of the actual work that was done, and I haven't had a chance to actually get under the car to see what it looks like. But I will tell you one thing, it's a completely different sounding car. We did lose some of that low end, and now it's not as rowdy as it used to be, but the trade-off is the car actually runs a little bit smoother. So beforehand, the car just felt like it was missing something, it was bogging. Now, when I'm on throttle or I'm shifting through gears, it feels tighter is kind of the best way to put it. It doesn't feel like there's a lag in power. It just feels good. As far as overall sound goes, it sounds pretty good. Yeah, we lost some of that lower end to kind of give it that nice deep sound, but it still sounds pretty good. And the good thing though is that a lot of that drone really did end up leaving, and it's kind of nice to not have it really resonate in the car. Now, not to say that inside the car it's not loud. It's pretty loud, I'll say that much, just because there is a lot of frequencies that are still kind of in there, and I think a lot of it just deals with the X pipe and it deals with the downpipes on the car. So I feel like a lot of that still is kind of there, but it's not insanely annoying, and I can actually drive and cruise with around the 2000 2500 RPM range, and it's not just completely overtaking the car. So that's actually really, really nice. So the next couple clips you're going to see is pretty much the dB meter test that I did. So overall, it did decrease. Now there are points where it does hit about 110-ish decibels, but the overall is still pretty good. At idle, it's still really low, and then through the rev range, it does tend to get pretty loud, but not to an extent that you would think. If you're just hitting it, about 4,000 RPM, it gets super loud. But when you're just cruising and you're driving, quite honestly, the car just kind of sneaks by and it just sounds really, really good. And you don't really get a lot of attention from the car. Overall, I think it was probably one of the best moves I could have done. I think adding the stock cats onto the car will definitely help bring down that overall decibel range, and essentially assist us making sure, like, if we do get pulled over again, the overall decibel reading won't be exorbitantly too loud, or I'm able to kind of sneak past if I'm just on a low RPM and just kind of cruising, which has happened. I haven't had to deal with that since then. It's been a couple weeks, and I've put a couple hundred miles on the car already to make sure that the car has been broken in. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and play those videos, and then that way you guys can kind of see the differences between what was before and what was after. So as you saw, not you know, not too much of a big difference as far as overall sound, but I think the biggest thing, and then quite honestly, the best thing that could have happened is that it did lower that decibel range. Now, this Borla muffler, or axleback, I should say, it's supposed to be one of two things. There is one pipe that comes out that has, it's essentially a straight pipe, and then the other side is baffled. So I'm not entirely sure exactly how that looks like, and I'll throw it up if I can find exactly what the internals look like so you guys can see. But I think at idle and cruising range just really mellows it down. But once you're on it, man, it sounds really, really good. And that's kind of like what I wanted to show you guys. You know, I can't do a cold start. I've driven the car all day today, but the cold start is, to be honest, it just sounds exactly what it was prior, but maybe a little bit quieter. But overall, idle and the movement of the car at a low RPM versus kind of like in traffic, but also like kind of getting on it, will actually, it's pretty noticeable of a difference, and it sounds fantastic. So yeah, I'm gonna just jump in the car, get the microphone set up so you guys can hear, and then we'll hit it. All right, as you guys heard, that's what the car sounds like now. Overall, I think it just sounds really good. Like I said, there's just something about it that just gives it this character. Now, of course, it could be a lot of factors. The car, as far as the exhaust goes, it's not super modified, but there are some parts of it that are not stock. Though pretty much from the second cats up to the X pipe, that's all still the stock parts. But there's a ding on one side just because rock came out of nowhere, hit the car. So there's a lot of bits and pieces of the exhaust system that are, I'm sure, making it sound a specific way. But overall, I really like it, and I'm curious to see what you guys think. I think this was a great idea. I not that I didn't like what it sounded like before, but it just calmed it down a little bit. Car just feels nicer, and I think overall, it just has I think it has a little bit more torque. Could be wrong though. I don't know. I haven't put it on the dyno yet since I changed out the exhaust. So the other thing as well is that the old exhaust was an SS 3-inch axle back, where this is the 2.5-inch. So for those that don't know, there's a great Engine Masters episode that kind of goes over those things, and I highly recommend watching it so you guys can see the two differences between 3-inch and 2.5 dual exhaust, single exhaust, and they kind of made a lot of sense to me after watching that and then feeling the car and how it ran. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's all I got. I really appreciate you guys watching, and big shout out to JBA and Ed Hansen. They definitely helped me out as far as getting this thing done quickly, and being able to help me out in getting the stuff. So big shout out to JBA for ordering the exhaust and being able to help me get it quickly, and then also to Ed Hansen's Muffler Repair. They helped me out get this done within a couple days of getting the exhaust. Mind you, I got it on Wednesday, and then I think by Friday I had it on the car. So massive shout out to them, to both of them. They truly helped me out a lot. And yeah, if you need exhaust systems or anything like that, hit up either JBA or you can hit up Ed Hansen. So outside of that, that's it, guys. We prepared to go to Vegas this weekend and do some racing with the new exhaust. I'm really excited to see how the car's going to really do with the new exhaust system, and then just seeing how the car's going to really play. The biggest factor that I ran into, or the biggest thing I didn't think of until not too long ago, was the heat. Now, the good thing is that this is a night race, so it should be cooler. But that being said, though, it's still going to be very hot. So I'm going to do my best to try and bring maybe a fan, so every time I'm done racing, I put it right in front of it, or maybe bring some water, put it onto the intercooler to try and help keep temps down. But we'll see how that plays out. But again, guys, I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate all the comments. Please let me know, do you like the system? Do you not? What would you do? Unfortunately, with California decibel laws, I got to be a little bit more careful. If this car was a track-only car, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But I like to drive my car now and then, and when it's now and then, every day. But eventually it will become my track car only. But no one wants to get a ticket, and I definitely don't want to pay the crazy amount that I had to make, for me not to get any more trouble. So highly recommend following my steps if you are looking to do any modifications to your car in California. But again, guys, thank you. I appreciate it. So like and subscribe, and send me your questions if you got any questions as far as why I chose this, why didn't I do that, and let's communicate and let's keep moving forward. And yeah, we'll see you guys in Vegas.